Atlantis was a paradise, a legendary island. It was composed of exotic landscapes with pleasant weather and beautiful forests, alongside extensive and fertile plains. The animals were docile but strong, and there were cities big and small. The Atlanteans were lords of a very advanced civilization. Palaces and temples covered with gold and other precious metals stood out in a landscape where the countryside and the city lived in harmony.
Gardens, gyms, roads, and bridges, they were everywhere at the disposition of all. From this abundance, the arts and science were born and prospered. There were many artists, musicians, and great sages.
But they did not live completely quiet, for they were not alone in the world. In spite of cultivating peace and harmony, they never ceased to press the arts of war, as many peoples envious and covetous of their wealth tried to conquer the continent. The victories obtained against the invaders were so great that soon they awoke the ambition of going against the attack.
They no longer thought of just defending themselves, but of enlarging the territory of Atlantis. Thus, the mighty Atlantean army prepared itself for the war, and little by little it was conquering great part of the known world, dominating several towns and several islands around him, a large part of the Atlantic Europe and part of North Africa.
Their hitherto pure hearts were hardening like their weapons. While innocence was lost, pride, vanity, unnecessary luxury, corruption, and a discretion for gods arose. Poseidon then summoned the other gods to judge the Atlantis, and decided to apply an exemplary punishment, and as a consequence came terrible natural disasters.
The lands of Atlantis shook violently, and some, the fire burned the forests and fields. The sea flooded the land of Atlantis with giant waves, engulfing villages and towns.
The theory that Atlantis was a true historical city and not just a legend invented by Plato only came to the fore in the late 19th century. In his 1882 book, Atlantis, the Ancient World, the writer Ignatius Donnelly stated that the achievements of the ancient world, such as metallurgy, language, and agriculture, were probably passed by past and advanced civilization were sophisticated enough to develop these techniques on their own. Assuming that the Atlantic Ocean was only a few tens of meters deep, Donnelly described a continent flooded by moving waters of the ocean that sank exactly in the places set by Plato. In the Atlantic Ocean, outside the Pillars of Hercules, the two rocks that mark the entrance of the Strait of Gibraltar. Long after modern oceanography and a great understanding of tectonic plates have pitted holes in their thesis, some people still believe in Donnelly's theory, mainly because of their adherence to the idea of Plato that Atlantis is in the most midst of the Atlantic.
Inspired by Donnelly, many well-succeeded writers expanded their theories and added their own speculations on where Atlantis might be. Charles Berlitz believes that Atlantis probably was a Bermuda Triangle victim, an area of Atlantic where many ships mysteriously disappear. People who believe in this theory points to the discovery of what seems to be walls made by man and streets found near Bimini, although scientists have analyzed these structures and concluded that they were natural rock forms.
According to Charles Hapgood, it supposes that the Earth crossed molded, shifting the continent that became Antarctica, farther north than it is today. This continent was home to an advanced civilization, but the sudden change to its present location condemned its inhabitants, the Atlanteans, and its magnificent city was buried under layers of ice.
One of the most recent theories about Atlantis considers the civilization that emerges on the Greek islands of Crete and Tyre more than 4,000 years ago. Considered the first great civilization of Europe, the Monoicos native people constructed expanded places, paved roads, and were the first Europeans to use the written language. However, at the height of their powers, the Monoicos suddenly disappeared from history, a great mystery that has fueled the belief and connection between these great and condemned civilizations to Plato's Atlantis. Historians believe that around 1600 BC, a huge earthquake shook the volcanic island of Tyre, causing a giant eruption. Tsunamis that followed the eruption were large enough to wipe the cities, leaving only destruction. Most historians and scientists throughout history have come to the conclusion that Plato's account to the lost kingdom of Atlantis was fictitious. According to these arguments, the Greek philosopher invented Atlantis as his vision of an ideal civilization and wanted the history of his disappearing to be a warning tale of the gods punish human arrogance. Moreover, despite its modern advances in oceanography and ocean bottom mapping, no trace of submerged civilization was ever been found.
The history of Atlantic is a mythical rereading of the Black Sea deluge. This theory says that Atlantic was not true in fact, but the version of his missing. This was based in history facts. What it means? This version says that the Black Sea was not so big like it is today. It was just a little lake. But a day, around the year of 5600 before Christ, the Mediterranean flooded the Black Sea. The Mediterranean broke the Bosporus and flooded the Black Sea. This Black Sea had many cities around him, and these cities also were flooded by the water. The people who lived in the cities, they had to leave because their homes was just with water. So they start to say that one of these villages, one of these cities was Atlantic, but we cannot say that for sure. So the fact of the Mediterranean flooding the Black Sea, this is proved. This is real. But Atlantic, the science don't considering real true.